Good afternoon to everybody. Please, all of you, take your seats. Backside. Good afternoon, distinguished dignitaries. Our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor G.P. Rajshekhar Garu, Principal of Arts and Commerce, Professor Jalad Ravi Garu, Deans, Associate Deans, Directors, Convener of this program, and Director of Cdoe, Dr. Professor D. Appal Naidu Garu, and other dignitaries, distinguished participants, a very welcome to all of you. As we gather on this significant occasion, it is a privilege to briefly set the context for today's panel discussion titled Celebrating a Legacy of Learning and Way Forward, From Foundations to Future, organized as part of the centenary celebrations of Andhra University, making 100 years of academic excellence and service to society. We begin with legacy and milestones, recognizing the journey of learning systems and the key achievements that have shaped academic excellence over time. Closely linked to this is the evolution of open and distance education, which has redefined access to knowledge, making learning more flexible to all sections, inclusive and technology-driven. At the same time, it is essential to address the challenges and opportunities that come with this transformation, ranging from digital divides and infrastructure gaps to the vast potential for innovation, collaboration, and scalability through coding and digital platforms. Looking ahead, the discussion will also explore the future vision, focusing on how foundational knowledge in coding and computing can drive the next wave of advancements and how institutions can adapt to rapidly changing technological landscapes. Finally, we consider the impact on the community, emphasizing on how these developments translate into real-world benefits, empowering individuals, strengthening economies, and fostering sustainable and inclusive growth. With these themes in perspective, today's panel brings together distinguished academicians and thought leaders who will share valuable insights across these dimensions. With this context in place, we now proceed to formally welcome our distinguished participants for this panel discussion. I will call upon all these distinguished participants one by one. First, I will call upon Professor D. Harinarayan Garu to the stage. Sir, please come on to the stage. Professor D. Harinarayan Garu was the Vice President, Society for Integrated Development and Research. He has PhD in Economics from University of Mysore. He was the Executive Director, UPNG Open University, the University of Papua New Guinea. He was the Pro-Vice Chancellor, Geetham University, Visakhapatnam, Professor in Economics, Andhra University, Visakhapatnam, Director, School of Distance Education, Andhra University for more than 8 years. He published 3 books, 18 research papers, and guided 27 research scholars. Sir, welcome you, sir, for this program, sir. It is an honor to welcome Professor with a bouquet, sir. Please accept this, sir. Sir, this is my pleasure to call upon Professor C.R.K. Murthy Garu, Professor, Retired Professor of Distance Education, IGNOU. Sir, please come on to the dais, sir. He held a MA Social Anthropology, PhD from Education, Andhra University. He was the former Director, Staff Training and Research Institute of Distance Education, STRIDE, IGNOU. During 81-87, associated with NCERT, NIEP, New Delhi, national level research project surveys in areas related to educational planning and administration. He executed several major research projects on various dimensions of distance education funded by national and international agencies. He was the Member General Council of National Institute of Open Schooling, New Delhi from 2017 to 19. He was the Member Distance Education Advisory Boards of Nagarjuna University, Yogi Vamana Patna University, Jammu University, Mangalayan University, Aligarh. Visited many distance education institutions as member visiting team of DAC, which is the apex body for distance education, IGNOU. He was the convener committee of NEP PDP for training 15 lakh higher education teachers and served as UGC DEB expert member. He has published more articles in various national and international journals. Thank you, sir, for coming here, sir. Please accept our invitation here, sir. Next, it is my pleasure to call upon Professor V.V. Subramanian Garu to the dais, sir. Please, sir. He is a professor of computer science, currently serving as the director of the Planning and Development Division at IGNOU, New Delhi. He also served as director, School of Computer and Information Sciences, and director, Center for Online Education. He was a member of IGNOU's Board of Management, Research Council, Standing Committee, Institution Innovation. He served as an expert on the SICA Committee of IGNOU. He holds 2 published patents and was honored with the IRDP Award for Research and Training Excellence in 2018. He is currently serving as member Board of Studies for Khalsa University, Amritsar. He has been offering the SWAYAM courses, database and content organization since 2017 and serves as a subject matter expert for 4 additional MOOCs courses on this platform. He was co-principal investigator for the e-content development project under the National Mission on Education through ICT, MHRD, Government of India, and served as channel coordinator for Swayam Prabha Channel 19. He presented various research papers at national and international levels, and also he has published 60 papers in reputed national and international journals. It is our pleasure to welcome you, sir, on this occasion and accept our invitation, sir. Thank you, sir. No. Next, I would like to call upon Dr. Ravi Ayagari, Additional Director, IGNOU, to come to the dais, sir. He holds a PhD degree in distance education, MBA in mass communication, PGDD in distance education. He has over 3 decades of combined experience in ICT management, distance education, electronic media, television and community radio, digital content creation and dissemination. He is a recipient of National Award, which is a gold medal for innovation in integrating educational tools for the development of quality digital content MOOCs course for the SWAYAM platform. Worked as additional director at the Electronic Media Production Center, IGNOU, New Delhi, with the grant in aid from Japan International Cooperation Agency, JICA, and Overseas Development Administration. Invited to work as advisor for information communication technology to the Ministry of Human Resource Development, Government of India. He is also associated with Honorable Prime Minister of India, Sri Narendra Modi, as media coordinator representing IGNOU for the Conference on Academic Leadership on Education for Resurgence in the year 2018 at Vigyan Bhavan, New Delhi, organized by IGNOU, UGC, ICSSR, AICT, JNU, etc. He got meritorious National Award winner from IGNOU, New Delhi, which is a gold medal for innovation in ODL for innovating applications integrating ICT for online education. We are really honored for your coming, sir. It is very helpful for our development, sir. And finally, I would like to call upon our chief guest and moderator for today's panel discussion, Professor E. VAYUNANDAN, to come on to the dais. Professor E. VAYUNANDAN, he did his MA, MPhil and PhD in Public Administration from Osmania University. He was the former Vice Chancellor Yashwantrao Chauhan, Maharashtra Open University, Nashik, former Acting Vice Chancellor KBC North Maharashtra University, Jalgoan, former Independent Director Education Consultants India Limited, New Delhi, former Professor of Public Administration, Indira Gandhi National Open University, New Delhi, UGC nominee for Academic Committee in Malaviya Mission Teacher Training Center, Manu University, Hyderabad. He is the Visitors nominee on the Executive Council of NEHU Shillong, Ombudsperson, PHFI Institute of Public Health Sciences, Hyderabad. We are very glad to see you all here, sir. Thank you for coming here. Sir, thank you. Now it is a customary to begin every event, whether it is small or big, by remembering the Almighty God. So today also we are beginning our program of panel discussion with a prayer song. I request all the participants to please stand on for 1 minute. The prayer song will be sung by Miss Hemalata and team. They are from the Cdoe staff. Okay.
गणनायकाय गणदैवताय गणाध्यक्षाय धीमहि गुणशरीराय गुणमण्डिताय गुणेशानाय धीमहि गुणातीताय गुणाधीशाय गुणप्रविष्टाय धीमहि एकदन्ताय वक्रतुण्डाय गौरीतनयाय धीमहि गजेशानाय बालचन्द्राय श्रीगणेशाय धीमहि एकदन्ताय वक्रतुण्डाय गौरीतनयाय धीमहि गजेशानाय बालचन्द्राय श्रीगणेशाय धीमहि गानचतुराय गानप्राणाय गानान्तरात्मने गानौचुकाय गानमत्स्याय गानौचुकमनसे गुरुपूजिताय गुरुदैवताय गुरुकुलस्वायिने गुरुविक्रमाय गुह्यप्रवराय गुणवे गुरुगुरवे गुरुदैवकलाक्षेत्रे गुरुधर्मसदाराध्याय गुरुपुत्र परित्रात्रे गुरुपाखण्डखण्डकाय गीतसाराय गीततत्त्वाय गीतक्रोत्राय धीमहि गूढगुल्फाय घण्टमध्याय गोजयप्रदाय धीमहि गुणातीताय गुणाधीशाय गुणप्रविष्टाय धीमहि एकदन्ताय वक्रतुण्डाय गौरीतनयाय धीमहि गजेशानाय बालचन्द्राय श्रीगणेशाय धीमहि एकदन्ताय वक्रतुण्डाय गौरीतनयाय धीमहि गजेशानाय बालचन्द्राय श्रीगणेशाय धीमहि श्रीगणेशाय धीमहि श्रीगणेशाय धीमहि Thank you.
Thank you, Hemalata and team. Now, I will call upon our director, Cdoe, and convener of this program, Professor D. Appal Naidu, to come onto the stage and give his opening remarks. And also this program has been widely disseminated by YouTube channel here. This is viewed throughout the country and as well outside also. So one can watch it here. This is for your information. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Chief guest and moderator of today's panel discussion on Cdoe, Professor E. VAYUNANDAN, Professor of Public Administration, IGNOU, New Delhi, former Vice Chancellor of Yashwantrao Chauhan, Maharashtra Open University, respected panelists, esteemed dignitaries, Chief Patron, Honorable Vice Chancellor G.P. Rajshekhar, EC members of AU, Rector Professor P. King, Principals of all constituent colleges of AU, Registrar Professor K. Rambabu, Deans and Directors of AU, HODs of different departments of AU, guests from our affiliated colleges, examination centers and study centers of Cdoe, faculty members, staff members, friends from press and media, and my dear students. It is both an honor and a privilege for me to welcome you all to this panel discussion on celebrating a legacy of learning and the way forward from foundations to future of Cdoe. Education stands as the pillar that supports societal progress, but how we access and experience learning have evolved remarkably over time. From traditional four walls of classrooms to dynamic digital platforms, the journey reflects not only technological advancement but also collective commitment of making education more inclusive, flexible and future ready. Today, as we celebrate the legacy of our great Andhra University as part of its centenary, we from the Center for Distance and Online Education of Andhra University, with a slogan of reaching the unreached, acknowledge our Cdoe's pivotal role in breaking barriers, geographical, economic and social, has empowered countless learners by providing opportunities that transcend boundaries and redefine the very essence of education. At the same time, this discussion invites us to look ahead what lies beyond the present. How can we strengthen the foundations laid so far and innovative for the future? How do we ensure quality, engagement and equity in an increasingly digital learning ecosystem? To deliberate on these thought-provoking questions, we are fortunate to have with us an esteemed panel of experts whose insights and experiences will undoubtedly enrich our understanding. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to our panelists and moderator of this panel discussion for joining us today, and to all participants for your presence and enthusiasm. I am confident that today's dialogue will not only celebrate past achievements but also inspire a clear and purposeful vision for the future of distance and online education. As Vamana, the greatest poet, reminds us, Jnaname Velugu, knowledge is the true light. May today's discussion kindle that light in every one of our minds, guiding us and shaping a progressive, enlightened society. With these words, I once again welcome you all to this event. Thank you.
Now it's time to call our Chief Patron of this panel discussion, our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor G.P. Rajshekhar, to convey his message to the gathering.
Good afternoon, everyone. So today's chief guest, Professor E. VAYUNANDAN, and eminent guests who are on the panel, Professor V.V. Subramaniam, Professor D. Harinarayana, Professor C.R.K. Murthy, Dr. Ravi Ayyagari, and all the dignitaries who have assembled here. So thank you very much. First of all the panelists, thank you very much, sir, for kindly accepting and to be here on this occasion. Special thanks to our old friend Dr. Ravi, whom when we have requested, he contacted all of you, and it's kind of you to be here. So for all the dignitaries, let me tell you why. Yes, we have been doing a lot of activities as part of Centenary. So then we thought this is the time we should understand the gray areas, the challenges, and fill it so that we can get a way forward to improve. So our School of Distance Education, Distance and Online Education is no exception. So since the time I joined, I have been seeing various activities and challenges. So almost the mailbox gets filled with various issues. Every individual or a group of individuals, they write with various concerns, problems. So we want to vet the entire process and get it actually, but somehow we are completely occupied with the centenary activities. So as a precursor, before we attempt a complete auditing of this unit and come up with a concrete plan, we thought this is a great opportunity to invite experts and kickstart the dialogue. Typical, what are the challenges in a CDOE system, and how do we have some measures in place so that some of the issues can be arrested, and then of course we may take another opportunity to invite you for a proper vetting. So my humble submission to you all, sir, if you can not only dwell upon these issues today, if you can give us some out of the panel discussion, a short document, spending your valuable time, we would be very happy to take that positively, and we are there to definitely accept the lacuna, so not an issue. So kindly, this is an appeal on this platform. If you can give us some guiding thoughts, we will one by one implement. So that is the idea behind this panel discussion. So I don't want to take your time. And once again, thank you very much. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your message. Now I will request our chief guest and moderator for this panel discussion, Professor E. VAYUNANDAN Garu, to take over this stage and continue the proceedings. Thank you, sir.
Respected guest on the dais, Professor Harinarayan Garu, Professor Murthy, Professor Subramaniam, and Dr. Ravi Ayyavari. Of the dais, the Honorable Vice Chancellor of Andhra University, Professor Rajsekhar Garu, Appal Naidu Garu, and all the deans, professors, heads of the departments. First of all, I thank the Vice Chancellor and the Appal Naidu Garu and Ravi Ayyavari. I am not an alumnus of the Andhra University, no doubt. I am from Andhra, but I am a product of Usmania University. So I don't know what made you to call me, but still, love for open distance learning, because my guru, my mentor, Professor late G. Ram Reddy Garu, was instrumental for us to motivate us to take a position, faculty position at Indira Gandhi National Open University, New Delhi, from Usmania University. I was a student leader in Usmania University, and later we were part-time teachers in Nizam College, Women's College, Secunderabad Arts and College. Then there was Professor Ram Reddy was the founding Vice Chancellor of that time Andhra Pradesh Open University. Now it is called BROU, B.R. Ambedkar Open University. So as a student leader, we watched him very closely. A very good administrator, an institutional builder, always some sort of innovation. So that is what I think. So when we look at Open University system, the way he was the founder of, architect of open distance education in India, and he was the founder of the B.R. Ambedkar Open University, that is at that time it was called Andhra Pradesh Open University, then the Indira Gandhi National Open University, and he was also instrumental in establishing Bangladesh Open University. No doubt about other institutions. Such was the institutional builders. So coming to today's, I'm really thankful to the Vice Chancellor of Andhra University and the Center for Distance Education to have a special discussion on the open distance learning, because very few people have that interest, and that too centenary celebrations, important. Because I remember, I think 2017, in the middle of 2007, we had a BCS conference. That time, Andhra University Vice Chancellor was Professor Nageshwar Rao. So he was telling, sir, in next 2 years, we are going to celebrate centenary celebration. I remember, now I'm recollecting it. It is almost. So even Usmania University conducted, organized their centenary celebration in 2017. I remember I was the Vice Chancellor of Yashwantrao Chavan, Maharashtra Open University. Then one of my, because I was a product of Usmania, so one of the senior professor called me, Vayanandan, can you spare some donation from your side? I said, I'm working in Maharashtra, how can I share? Then I said, I'll see how much I can donate. Then one of their teacher told me, sir, Usmania jurisdiction was up to Manmad. Entire Marathwada region and western Maharashtra, it catered, and the Chief Minister S.B. Chavan and even Patil was the speaker, who were all product of Usmania University. So that time, that made me to donate 5 lakhs to Usmania University. So no university within, college or university within Telangana donated that much money, only Maharashtra. So that is what the centenary celebrations, and that way I told them, I'll give you 5 lakhs, but it should be conducted on open distance learning in the name of Professor G. Ram Reddy, in honor of Professor late G. Ram Reddy. So that is how they conducted. But Andhra University, without any kind of thing, I think credit goes to the Vice Chancellor Rajshekhar Garu and others. I think it's a good, and it's important also at this juncture, that why we have to look at. So I was discussing with my colleague Murthy. We were colleagues for 36 years in Indira Gandhi National Open University. And our Subramaniam joined just, I think he was younger, so he used to be with us. And our Ravi used to be in media, that is communication division. So, it is dominated entirely by, except Harnarayan Garu, by IGNOU people. So one way it is an honor to IGNOU, because no doubt we tried our best to contribute to the entire, like Murthy was telling, so many lakhs of people were trained, build up their capacity on open distance learning. So that is what the Professor Ram Reddy used to tell us. See, first of all, the quality and capacity building is very important, because that is what they used to say, what is distance education, so private. We all know that we have gone up long of things. Privately, we used to appear, correspondence, that all I don't want to discuss. So, a good initiative from the Andhra University. I'm very thankful to the Andhra University that you have taken up this in a part of your centenary celebrations. So now, I don't want to take much time. I think we'll start with the panel discussion. We'll start with Professor Harnarayan Garu, who was also one of the former director of this, Center for Distance Education. I think it can be 15 to 20 minutes, sir. No problem. So I will round up. So I think the most thing is the experiences we have. I don't know, maybe because as a teacher I have to be very objective also. For last 10 years we are into a lot of troubles. Regulations, like you have seen in NEP, light and tight. It is not light and tight, it is tight and light now. So, I'm sorry to say. So, but still, I think the experiences, and as rightly said Professor Rajshekhar Garu, we will see how best we can build up. And Murthy was sharing, they have 4 lakh students in Delhi. Murthy, after his superannuation, he joined into Delhi University Open School. 4 lakh student, I was amazed, because IGNOU does not have 4 lakhs. And when I was in Nashik, Yashwantrao, we have 7 lakhs students per annum. So I used to tell, we are surpassing even IGNOU. IGNOU has 2 sessions, June and January. But people don't tell you are part of IGNOU. So that is why. So whatever maybe now, I invite Professor Harnarayan Garu. So you can take 15 to 20 minutes. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody here. Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Rajshekhar Garu, and the dais, fellow panelists, Moderator, Professor VAYUNANDAN garu, Professor Subramanian garu, Professor Murthy garu, Professor Ravi garu, Director Cdoe, Professor Naidu garu, Associate Directors, all fellow travelers in distance education from the study centers, ladies and gentlemen. I am privileged and feel honored to have been invited here to speak and reflect on the journey of Cdoe of Andhra University. I would put it this way. It was in 1972 that the School of Correspondence courses then was started in this university. It is over 53, 54 years. A journey of 53, 54 years has been summed up in about 15 minutes, though difficult. I will try to be very precise. I will title this From Derism to Positivism and then Populism. These are three phases that most distance learning centers in this country faced, and we were no exception. When we started in 1972, I think there were only three programs, BA, BCom, MCom, and MA Economics. 4 programs were started with the assistance of UGC at that point of time. If Delhi University was the first to start distance learning institution in 1962, Andhra University was the second to start this program in 1972. In that way, Andhra University was the pioneer at that point of time and continues to be so even today. And the Center, School of Distance Education, as risen later, was recognized throughout the country as one of the eminent centers offering quality distance education. Now, I would call 3-4 phases of evolution of the School of Distance Education of Andhra University. Now, the first phase, 1972, perhaps 1993-94, where it was purely correspondence courses, where notes was written by experts and that was sent to the students, learners, and then a few contact programs were arranged of 10 days in a year, and then they were asked to take the examinations. And not much of student support or learner support as we call it, not much of courseware except the printed notes, and in fact it was not printed even. At that time it was cyclostyle. Some of it was visible, some of it was not. It was left to the students to decipher what was there in it. From that phase, we started in 1993-94 to conversion into distance educational mode. And as 4 experts are here from IGNOU, IGNOU has been the leader in distance education, not only in this country, but throughout the world. They have centers, and other countries also have invited them to help themselves. So the difference is that from cyclostyling circulated notes, we have gone to printed material of quality. In fact, in one way, we had to fight from distance learning and argue with the authorities at that time to permit us to print, because cyclostylizing was less costlier, printing was costlier. But then they allowed. So printed material is one mode, and then face-to-face, occasional face-to-face interaction was the second courseware. And thirdly, we just started conversing with the students as and when needed, as and when they come. Otherwise, out of the personal contact programs, as we were calling at that time. Apart from that, we also started weekend classes, where Sunday was utilized for organizing classes, and then fellow teachers from Andhra University and elsewhere were invited to participate in those classes. This was also the time where, for reasons well known, the administration of Andhra University gave complete autonomy to distance education. Before that, exams were the combined exam sections of the registrar's office. In 1991, the exams were delinked, and then a separate section in School of Distance Education was set up to organize examinations, to conduct, evaluate, and then announce the results. Only the final degree was awarded by the examination section of the registrar's office. And then financial autonomy was also given. All payments were made from the School of Distance Education itself, and the director and the help of the deputy registrar and assistant registrar used to sign the checks there itself, and all payments were made instantaneously, because that was the requirement of the system. Because there are no permanent employees like the faculty that we have in the departments, hence departments of other departments and then faculty of other departments, other universities used to help us, and then for which payments were to be made instantaneously, and that was achieved. In fact, at this point of time, I must also tell all the audience here, distinguished audience here, the contribution of Professor V. Abraham, who was the director from almost 1982 to 1997. For 15 years, he guided the destinies of the university, and I must admit that as I have seen it, he was one of the best administrators I have ever known. And then we came to 2000. 2000 is again a point of time where technology started getting adopted in distance learning. In fact, distance education system was the foremost in adopting technology, and the students were benefited immensely because of this adoption. And all through, 3 guiding principles guided the School of Distance Education: access, cost, and quality. These are the 3 guiding principles, of course, assuring equity also, another 4th dimension. But main principles always have been access, quality, and cost. Balancing these 3 became the foremost thing for the administrators in distance learning. By 2008, we have increased access not only to more number of students, but to more number of programs. Before 1997-98, we used to have 18 programs. By 2008, we had 58 programs, from 18 to 58. For about 8 to 9 years, every year we were adding 5 programs and fully prepared courseware. And those were the times where the derism phase has gone and the positive phase has come, because I joined this university in 1977 as an assistant professor after a PhD from the Institute for Social and Economic Change, Bangalore. And then 1986, I shifted to distance education. Oh, very poor. Why are you going down from being a student from Isaac, Bangalore, to School of Distance Education? What a pity, Professor Narayana, at that time, doctor. What a pity, Narayana. That was the pity expressed from all my friends, all my well-wishers. Nobody was allowing me to go to distance learning. That was the derism phase. From derism, we came to positivism by 2000. And by that time, we were struggling to put up more and more programs as a response to the needs of the learners of this university. There were many innovative programs. One incident I can recall, 2 old people, a couple, came to me around 4 o'clock in the evening. And their intention was, in fact, the husband retired long time back, he was 71. The wife was 65. The wife has the interest in learning music. They came to inquire whether music is offered here. It was not offered. Then they came to me and then requested whether it's possible to offer music in distance education. Then we were all impressed in those years by the positive words of Professor late Ramireddy. He used to tell us, why not offer? Any program can be offered in distance, provided you take enough care. And then I was convinced that we should do something. I went to the Vice Chancellor and then requested whether we can offer music. Then he said, how? I said, anybody aged 15 and above has the culture, voice culture, matured. Hence, why not we offer music? No prior qualification is required. And then I went to the music department, they were positive. That's how we started diploma in music in distance education. And then, during the time of Professor Simhadri, all of a sudden he called me one day and then asked me, can you do something for those with diploma in polytechnic, engineering programs? I said, why not, sir? If you allow me, we can offer any program. That's how we started 4 programs in BTech, and then offered for about 6 to 7 batches, and then we wind up at the behest of UGC. And then we used to offer BSc. It is still there. And then of some time there was a need for teachers to upgrade themselves, school teachers to upgrade themselves with MSc. So we started MSc Zoology, MSc Botany, Chemistry and Physics, 4 programs. So like this, we were responding to the needs of the learners and responding to the needs of the society at large. And then we started some diploma programs, like for instance, management of voluntary welfare organizations. And then a diploma in translation. So depending upon the need, then there was positive response, promotion from the administrators at that point of time. So we were able to offer those programs. So we also offered psychology, but it's now withdrawn. So in a sense, I wish to convey that we were adopting to the changing needs, and also we were upgrading the institution pari passu with the developments at the national level, particularly led by IGNOU. And in 2002, we were innovative in adopting mobile technology. In fact, 2 mobiles were given in the inquiry section. Their business is to respond to phone calls. Earlier it was only landline, but with mobiles, access to the students became easier. That's why we were responding. So access has really widened over a period of time. There were, in 1972, we started with less than 100 students, and then by 1986, we were about 9,000 students. By 1995, we went up to 18,000. Then 2000, there were about 20,000 students. 2007, that was the peak, to 85,000 students. I thought we will reach a century, 1 lakh very soon, but we couldn't. So from 1986 onwards, we also started open system, where prior qualification is not required. All that a student has to do is to pass in the entrance exam that we conducted. And admission to BA BCom was direct. And all this was possible because of Distance Educational Council under IGNOU. It was all flexible. There was nothing, no course that you cannot offer. Every course can be offered, including MBBS, provided, of course, adequate care is taken to assure quality. And then, with this expansion of enrollment over diverse 58 programs, we achieved social inclusion. In fact, the composition at that time used to be 55% women, 45% men, particularly housewives. And I must share my experience also. One day I went to local BVK college to address the students on the occasion of the personal contract program. I was surprised to see daughter-in-law and mother-in-law sitting side by side, and then they were students of BA, both mother-in-law and daughter-in-law. That's the kind of pleasure that you get as an administrator in distance education. So 55% were women, 45% were men. And then SC, ST, BCs, they were more than 60% at that point of time. And the geographical reach was, of course, very wide. We used to have a lot of study centers in rural areas. At that time, we used to have about 37 study centers. Of 37, 7 were in the towns, others were in semi-urban areas and then rural areas. And then during that point of time, around 2003 or 4, we started a study center in Paderu, tribal area. And then another study center in Rambachodavaram, another tribal area. And specifically, we used to go to those areas and then canvass for enrollment. And that was the time where we thought we should do something from the university side also. And we used to have some kind of a mobile admission center, which means we used to go with the material to the areas, study centers, and then give admissions as well as the material and other courseware. And that was the encouragement for students to join immediately. While this was ensured, we also saw to it that our fee structure was the lowest in Andhra Pradesh. A 3-year BA at that time used to be carrying a fee of less than 2,000. A BCom 100 rupees extra. For all the programs, the fee structure was far lower. There was, of course, some kind of acrimony from the departmental side, where their fee structure was higher than the distance education. But still, we insisted, and it was possible with the help of the Vice Chancellor in those years to fix the fee at the very low level so that it is accessible to as many students as possible. And then we always stayed relevant. We always stayed relevant even across the distance learning landscape changing in terms of programs, in terms of adopting technology, in terms of meeting students' needs, even in terms of student support. But I have only one regret. The regret is that student support or learner support, as we call it, is always an area where a lot of innovations are required. Even today, wherever you go, leave alone Andhra University, learner support is very, very low. In fact, we talk of two types of learner support, proactive and reactive. We're always good in reactive support because students come to you and then react. That also was sometimes not really good. But still, let's assume that it is possible. Our proactive support is always absent. And I regret that even in my time and in our time, we could not do much of proactive support, even though we thought we should do much more. This is one area I think we'll target for the institution in the days to come. And then we followed the generational changes in distance education, starting from correspondence mode, distance mode, then the mixed mode, now the online mode. In the end, let me conclude in saying too, if we were given the three important guidelines to guide the institution: access, equity, cost, and quantity. Quantity, of course, it's always there. We always met the quantitative requirement. But we were interested only in access, quality, and cost with equity. And these three or four guiding principles still continue to be relevant even today. And we are happy that successive Vice Chancellors have supported us. But I must submit my own impression or experience or request to the Honorable Vice Chancellor here. My experience in distance learning has been more than 3 decades. I joined Andhra University School of Distance Education, or shifted to Andhra University School of Distance Education in 1986, continued there until 2009, when I left to Geetham. Any Vice Chancellor, no exception, he will take a year to convert from positivism, from negativism to positivism. This happens in conventional system everywhere, no exception anywhere. So first 1 year, the Honorable Vice Chancellor takes time to study the systems, and then by the time he starts promoting, half the period is over. Rest of the period he promotes very positively, very encouragingly, very helpfully. But again, 3 years again, the Vice Chancellor changes, again you have to 1 year halt. So with 1 year halt every time, we progressed throughout the history of School of Distance Education in this university. I'm sorry if I am to admit it, but it's a fact that I've experienced over a period of time. So we wish that these 3-4 factors will guide us in the years to come, with reach becoming important, particularly in the rural and tribal areas, and from the teacher-centeredness, we have shifted to learner-centeredness, but still that learner-centered learning approach is still somewhat elusive, where we have to think and then do something more in these areas. With these few observations, let me wholeheartedly thank Honorable Vice Chancellor for giving me this opportunity, and Professor Naidu Garu and his colleagues to have asked me to be here this afternoon. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Garu. I think entirely about the Andhra University Open Distance Learning, how it has started, how it has responded to the learner needs. I think it's a very, I think it's a good, you were the second to start after Delhi University. It's a good. So any questions we will, at the end we will try to address it. Thank you very much, sir. You have taken the time, whatever allotted time. Now I request Professor Murthy Garu to because he has a very wide experience. He was, when he started his career as in planning division of Indira Gandhi National Open University, then he, entered into the STRIDE. I think STRIDE has done an enormous contribution in building up the capacities of various, distance education educators. I think that credit goes to STRIDE, and Professor Murthy was from there from the beginning. And recently, I think they are getting funding from the UGC also, that under the scheme of. So that is what I think good. Please.
Esteemed Vice Chancellor, Professor Rashekar Garu, Professor Naidu Garu, distinguished faculty of Andhra University, my close friends who are sitting in the front row, Dr. Ramarao, Raman Garu and others, we were classmates, we were PG classmates, Dr. Ramarao and myself, and we spent 10 years at Delhi together. Of course, after that, I continued to stay, and he left Delhi and reached to dedicate more to the city of Visakhapatnam, and that's how he's running the group of institutions in Gajuwaka. I think that's how our relation. And about the panel, somebody said, Vayanandan Garu said this is the IGNOU panel, but I don't distinguish Harinarayan Garu out of this IGNOU, this thing. Because the day he joined the Andhra University Directorate of Distance Education at that time, and then since then we were in regular touch. I think myself and two other colleagues who came and conducted the workshops here, and then quite a few colleagues from the department came and attended our training programs at Delhi. So it's a continuous journey, so I don't, and his experience at the Cdoe and his experience in general in the open and distance system is reflected the way he presented. I think my job is reduced, sir, by after your presentation. I will try to highlight a few things. Yeah, I'm really proud to stand in front of all of you. I am the alumni of this university, for your information. I did my anthropology from the Department of Anthropology, Andhra University, and PhD in tribal education from the Faculty of Education. So after that, I reached Delhi and entered into the distance education. Of course, 4 decades I spent in distance education development within the country and outside the country through Delhi. So this is how the journey. And actually plenty of experiences, plenty of issues to highlight and point out, but this is not the time to do all the things. So I will touch upon a few major things only. And moreover, colleagues here are well aware of the distance education, how things are going on. Now everybody is talking about the digital education, blended education. I think terminology has created a havoc, if somebody asks me. These terminologies, in every discipline we used to have a terminologies. It is not this, without terminology a discipline cannot survive. But certain terminologies of computer related has entered into every discipline, and that we are using indiscriminately these terminologies. So that's where the computers and the networking, collaboration, all sorts of things have come. I feel that, okay, these terminologies I have not learned in the beginning of my career. First 2 decades I spent poorly on this thing, but last 10 years, 15 years I started learning this terminology because everybody is talking, I also should talk. Otherwise they know that this professor of distance education, Murthy, doesn't know anything. So this is how the impact of terminologies on this thing. Friends, before my presentation, I did my BSc in zoology. After that, naturally, you wanted to become a doctor, you could not become. So at least you wanted to do MSc, getting seat in Andhra University or any other universities in Andhra Pradesh, combined Andhra Pradesh, were very difficult. So I wanted to go and study from the Meerut and Northern universities where you used to get a seat, MSc seats. But my brother, Professor Subbarao, who was the student of this university, scholar of this university, and faculty geophysics professor, more than geophysics professor, he is known as a extensive writer in Telugu literature, a critic in Telugu literature. Quite a few friends who are sitting here, they know him. So he said, you are not going anywhere to do the MSc Zoology, you are coming and studying in anthropology. At that time, I don't know what is anthropology. I just referred in the dictionary and that, okay, this is anthropology. And then after that, I shifted to do the PhD in education. That's how. Had I gone to MSc Zoology, I don't know what I would have become. But by doing the social anthropology and education, PhD, and diverting into the specialized in distance education, I could say that I have learnt a bit, I have contributed to the new discipline, so I can really feel proud on that count. So the credit goes to my brother, who is no more. Really, this is I remember him on this very special occasion of this kind. Next slide, please. As far as the this thing is concerned, Harinarayan Garu highlighted that we used to say that correspondence education. Correspondence education, of course, if you see in the world, forget about the Indian scenario, in the world it is 175 years old. The correspondence education started not in education sector. It was a Pittman shorthand courses. I think the old colleagues may be knowing the shorthand courses used to be there. And nowadays, there is no shorthand courses are there, but there is plenty of shorthand courses. That person in the United States, the George Pittman, operating the shorthand courses, which were in huge demand at that point in time across America and other places, that is a skill-based. Shorthand is a skill-based course. But he used a postcard as a medium and enrolled the students and sent the lessons through the postcard. That's how the first correspondence institution or the course started in the shorthand, not the education sector. After that, of course, in the UK, oil refineries, they wanted to train their people. They started the shorthand correspondence courses. Then the mighty USSR, United Soviet Socialist Republic, which was no more, and that army of USSR spreaded in the huge that continent. He wanted to upgrade the knowledge and skills from time to time. They started using the correspondence method to train them. You cannot bring all the soldiers from the country for corners you at one place. Yes. After that, education people started. When everybody is using, why can't we use to impart education? That's how the correspondence system entered into the education sector in the world. Of course, when it comes to the India, as Narayan rightly pointed out, 1962, it is the University of Delhi. School of Correspondence Studies started, but there was a huge demand within Delhi for the BA graduate program, and the colleges are few at that time. So UGC was generous to give a permission. Okay, you start it. That's how they started BA BCom program initially, like Directorate of Distance Education. The first programs are that. After that, gradually other universities. Andhra University started 72, and after that, North universities. Chandigarh University, Patiala. That's how the School of Correspondence institutions started. Of course, there are a lot of limitations on this country, this correspondence institution, because there is no proper designed material, there is no support services, as Harnayan Garu told rightly. And then, of course, universities at that time are seeing that, okay, 2-3 universities started correspondence institutions, hey, they are earning a lot of money. So Vice Chancellors of other universities said, okay, it's a good way of earning money, why not we also start it? That's how, okay, whatever the objective, they started it, that's it. And but gradually the emphasis has become on more money earning than the giving a good quality education. That's how it became in the initial stages. Apart from other weaknesses of the system or the loopholes of the system, whatever you call it, UGC reviewed after 10 years, but these are the improvements you have to bring it to the correspondence institutions. You know that how the things in the country will work. The committees will submit the report, but the report have to be translated by the administrators, university administrators and the policy makers. There is always a gap between the policy and the implementation. I don't think that I should explain to this group. But gradually, correspondence system started all over the world. It's not only India. And then the University of South Africa started the correspondence institution long back, much before India started. And University of London, University of London is a very developed country and a developed institution. They also started School of External Studies much before we started it. So naturally there are the experiments here and there. In the South Africa is again a developed country within the African continent, but they also started. But they started on a sound footing. They did not go for a large enrollment and a large amount of earning the resources as such. When this process is going on and evolution came, okay, if you want to improve from the just cycle style material what Professor Adinarayana Garu referred, I don't know, younger colleagues they know about the cycle style machines. Cycle style machines is a typewriter stencil cut and then apply the tar and then the cycle style multiple copies. There is a printing is a hugely costly affair, so that's how they did it. And from there, the distance education. What is the distance education? What is the difference between the correspondences? Distance education is a turning point which came in the world with the establishment of Open University in UK. UK is a developed country. They don't need any Open University or correspondence. But then the Prime Minister was from the Labour Party, Harold Wilson. He said that but naturally the progressive Prime Minister, he thought that country is changing, world is changing. If I want to compete with the rest of the world, naturally my workforce have to be updated, knowledge have to be updated. Workforce have to be updated how? It is a challenge. You cannot bring all the workforce from various sectors and put into the universities and colleges. You can't do that. So that's where he thought and that I am going to start a Open University. He declared. When he declared, there is resistance from the established universities. The UK was already having so many universities, very well established universities. Mr. Vice Chancellor, what are you going to do? You want to go into sell the degrees? You want to go offer a cheap education? These are the comments came to him. But he did not bother about it. He went ahead and established the Open University in 1969. That was the turning point from the cycle style or no material to well-designed material, printed material, supplemented, complemented by the learner support services, what Adinarayana Garu talked about it, and a bit of technology. This is where the evolution in the correspondence to distance education. I think from there, it became a role model. IGNOU also modeled large extent on the UK Open University, but of course we adapted to our conditions and context, and then we added quite a few things. Naturally, you cannot do the extensive, exactly the same model like UK, because it's a developed country, they have plenty of resources. Our resources are very, very less. That's how we adapted. Of course, but UK Open University has become a model to many institutions in the world. So that's what I want to say. After that came the concept of open education. First two are a mode of education. Open education is a philosophy. Open education is a philosophy. What is the philosophy? That's what Adinarayana Garu said. Access, cost, quality, equity, inclusion. These are the things. Are we achieving all these things through traditional education? Yes, we try to do that. To what extent we are? With a limited college and a limited universities, I don't think that we can do extensively, but through the distance education, we can do a little more. That was the target. And that is the philosophy. And then, of course, these two modes are based on these philosophical foundations of openness, flexibility, and use of technology, etc. And, of course, then online education, learning, blended learning, technology-based MOOCs, all these things have come in a larger scale. I think with all the digital education, technology-based education, I was watching from the close quarters, staying in a Delhi as advantage, you will find all sorts of experts, very renowned expert, very traditional expert like me from the distance education, and people talk about the slogans, people talk about that, okay, we can implement it in no time, we can change the face of the world. You cannot change the face of the world by slogans. Simply you cannot change it. I can say with confidence, the slogans won't help alone in changing the face of education. Just one example I will tell it. National Education Policy 2020. I think most of you are familiar with it. And the many components included in that. What is that? Multiple entry, multiple exit, and then quite a few things. They put those slogans, but those concepts are already implemented by IGNOU from 86, 87 onwards. That's what I want to say that. For me, These are the familiar concepts which we practiced it. But for them, there is a new concept. By implementing them in the traditional education is a toughest thing. But the colleagues who included that, they don't know the gravity of that, they included. And NGP 2020 started in July 2020. Now it's almost 5 years plus. You should have reached a bit ahead of it, quality front, all front. But I don't think that we are moving much on that front. But the other day, my colleagues were telling at IGNOU, we are conducting a training program on sensitization of the NGP 2020. I said, what are you doing? After 5 years, we need not sensitize it about the policy. We have to review the policy. We have to review the progress and move ahead. I think this is how the gap between the policy and implementation, etc. Of course, again, this blended learning, nowadays open learning. In NGP 2020, there is extensive reference of the blended learning. What is blended learning? It's a blend of more than one mode. It is a traditional mode, it is online, it is a distance. When I cannot do a justice to one mode, as a teacher, if I teach in the classroom perfectly to the satisfaction of mine and students, that's more than enough. Murthy sahab, itna blend mat karo. When you cannot do that, don't attempt it. That is where there comes up the question of the training. The training, capacity building, associated with the training for the last 40 years, extensively traveled nook and corner of this country and the adjacent countries. I know that what is the use of the training. Of course, 2 colleagues came and said, sir, we attend our training programs in Stride IGNOU. Like that, wherever we go, that colleagues, sir, that training really helped. I think the other day I was reading the new UGC Act, which is pending in the Parliament. The editorial came in the Hindu. I was reading that one. There he said that artificial intelligence is the buzzword and everybody is speaking AI. They said, if you want to talk only AI, talk. But if you want to implement the AI, devise a proper training and capacity building programs at various levels. As a trainer who spent the whole life in that business, I know the value of training. I think my colleague Professor Subramaniam is a computer specialist who really knows the meaning of AI, impact of AI, how to integrate the AI with the existing system. Unless the experts like them who devise an appropriate training program. I don't think each one of us can go to and learn the AI in the computer classroom. So that's where the training program matters. So this is how the blended learning, and that's what we talk about it. Whatever I explained so far. Sir, I'll take just another 5 minutes and wind it up. So correspondence education, distance education, open education, it's a continuous evaluation in terms of methodology, in terms of delivery mechanism, in terms of technology. I think you can see that as far as the aims are concerned, naturally the openness and open philosophy is increasingly becoming. And then methods are concerned, starting with the cycle style material, we reach the multimedia. We have the technology everywhere, we are using it. Now from there, open education is, of course, the multiple admissions, with direct rates and CDOEs, IGNOU, we admit twice in a year to the students. Exams also we used to conduct twice in a year. So this is how the flexibility. A student need not attend this exam in this one, he or she can attempt the later. So this is how the flexibility as far as the methods are concerned. And issues, across the board, plenty of issues are there. All issues, the challenges. Professor Narayan Garu talked about a few, I'll talk. Actually, the distance education, the isolation. School of Correspondence is here, CDOE, and then students are spread everywhere. IGNOU headquarters is at Delhi, students are all over the country and beyond the country. Never institution they can see and I cannot see every student. That is where isolation. The teaching learning process, the core is how to bridge this isolation. Whether it is a technology based, whether it is a traditional distance education, how to bridge this isolation is a challenge. So that particularly we have seen this in the case of the Corona period, when the nursery standard to the higher education, they operated online programs, students got fed up, parents got fed up. By nursery bachcho ko started the online class, he doesn't know switch in front of the thing. And then, of course, that resulted in a lot of psychological problems. I think there are plenty of articles, extensively written in the media. So this is what isolation, how to bridge that isolation in distance or online learning. Lack of interaction with peers because they don't meet other students. Lack of confidence in the self. Many students come, they don't have the confidence. How to create that confidence? How to motivate? How to sustain those things? Sustaining, yes sir. Yeah, objectives of, I will not repeat that. Distance education has an advantage of the plenty of objectives can be achieved. It is a cost-effective, flexible, etc. And SURF has a channel for lifelong education. My other colleagues will talk about both Ravi Garu and Subramanian Garu will talk, so I will not touch. It is a training and retraining the employees. Main features of is large enrollment. A college can cater to maybe a 2,000, 3,000. When I am starting a distance education, it can cater to a 10,000, 15,000, 20,000. That's where the figures rolled out by Harinarayan Garu, I still remember, started with 900 students to reach 85,000 students. Accessibility, deal with expertise, many academics, etc. I think, let me stop it there. Yeah, I think I will stop it here. Question of numbers. Distance education can cater to the large number of learners and diverse means. You can use the print material, you can use the technology, you can have interaction. Question of time. Generally, distance education, the flexibility gives the minimum time and maximum time. And question of needs. You are catering to the diverse needs, which Ratnan Garu touched upon that. You will have students from tribal area, you have students from the western area, all those things, needs. And a question of socio-political commitment. The political commitment is needed. One thing I will just conclude that Harold Wilson, but for his commitment to start the UK Open University, in spite and despite of the resistance, he established that which transformed the face of distance education all over the world. Same is the case. National Open University, that is IGNOU bill, at that time it was, National Open University bill was pending from 1974 at the Union government, and it did not come to the light. The first Open University was not IGNOU. First Open University was the AP Open University, which is now known as the B.R. Ambedkar Open University, 82. Then 85 it came. So political commitment matters. That's how. Okay. Thank you very much for patient hearing. Let me thank sincerely Honorable Vice Chancellor, Rajshekhar Garu, and then Professor Naidu Garu and his team for giving the opportunity. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mutigaru. Sorry, because I know that it's a lot of material, lot of to be. I mean, because we traveled more than 50 years in open distance learning, like Harinarayan told. He could also. I'm sorry, I could not you. But what you said about Harold Wilson, as an opposition leader, also he moved. Later, when he became the prime minister, he said the open system, and some people said blistering and something nonsense. Someone said easy. It's a trick. But today you understand. Say how the entire and once they asked Wilson, sir, what is your greatest achievement as a prime minister? It's establishment of open institute. So thank you, Murthy Garu. We will access some more questions. Now I'll ask Subramaniam as a person with technology background. I think he will throw light on the technology, how it is. But Professor Ram Reddy Garu used to say always, tool should not be master. Human factor cannot be erased.
Thank you. Good morning, good afternoon, distinguished guests. Honorable Professor Rajshekhar Garu, Vice Chancellor, Andhra University, Professor Appal Naidu Garu, Director, Cdoe. Good afternoon, distinguished fellow speakers, and then Chief Guest, Professor VAYUNANDAN Garu. Actually, two stalwarts and my gurus are sitting over here. It is a bit of nervous, however, I'll try to manage. It is a matter of immense pride and emotional connection for me to stand here today as an alumnus of AU, especially during its prestigious centenary celebrations. I had done my MTech in Computer Science Engineering from Andhra University during 1995-97. So in that way, I am very much emotional to connect over here. That too, after 3 decades, I am visiting my university. So actually here, whatever I had learned, that gave me the bread and butter. So the kind of, I feel very honored to share the platform with distinguished speakers and to reconnect with an institution that continues to inspire generations. Being a part of this centenary milestone, it is truly special as it reflects 100 years of excellence, legacy, and contribution to the society. So thanks a lot to this university which has given me the life. And from past 30 years, roughly, I am with Indira Gandhi National Open University at various capacities. I joined as a lecturer there in 1998, immediately after doing the MTech over here. And then later on, I continued my PhD along with my career. So that was about me. So I'll just, the theme given to me is the challenges and opportunities. So in this particular theme, a theme that I had distributed this into 2 sections. One is I'll just focus on the challenges that were there in all the 4 era. I had designed in such a way that the first era, and then the next part is I concentrate on the opportunities. So here, in the first era, we call it as the correspondence education, wherein which we send the material and then people will, the learners will come to attend the examination. That was only the thing. And during that particular corresponding era, there are certain challenges we had faced. There we are disconnected with the university as well as with the faculty. We don't know who are preparing this course material and who are our faculty. That was missing completely. Because we used to send the course material and then we don't know. And some latency problem was also identified that time. Latency in the sense that the course material may not be reaching on time. So that was the problem that we were facing during that particular period. That is the latency time I had defined. And then isolation induced attrition. So as the feedback from the student is not receiving properly on time, so we are totally disconnected and there is no means of inspiring the student or else motivating the student. So that was the thing that was missing in the correspondence education. So then here, the assessment credibility. Mostly those correspondence courses, whatever the students have done those days, were not treated at par with the original degrees. So that was the challenges that we had seen during the first era. In the second era, I define it as the broadcast and early digital era, wherein which mass dissemination without interaction. Our expert is sitting over here, the media expert, wherein which we had introduced the first time media means we had introduced the radio and then the television. So that time I call it as the broadcast and the early digital era, wherein which mass dissemination was there, but without proper interaction. We don't have the teleconferencing systems and other kinds of systems those days. It is only one time, one-way broadcasting that we had like recorded the programs and given them in the form of the cassettes. So we don't know whether they are being watched or not. And that too, many of the topics were not that much covered in the sense that they haven't followed any kind of series. There are certain misses that time. Most of them took them very easily, but there are certain challenges encountered. And then the fragmented learner support, early digital divide signal. So some people those days, they don't have the TV set. But they used to come to the study center. Study center concept was introduced in those days. So they used to come to the study center that they used to watch the TV programs and other kinds of things. But in order to in order to understand the whole subject, there are several CDs designed or several cassettes designed. So the students may not be in a position to watch all the series and other kinds of things. So here the key takeaway is scaling delivery without redesigning pedagogy, simply scale the inefficiency. So that was the thing that happened, and I call it this one as the challenge at that particular time. Then there is another era. The next era is the internet and the LMS era, wherein which internet has penetrated, the 2G concept has come, and then there is a lot of content overloaded onto the internet. However, that time the content was not there. For the first few, for at least for first 5 to 7 years, even though we have the portals, even though we have the learning management systems in place, but we don't have the content. So that was the main problem that we had faced during this particular third era. And engagement is the illusion. So we may be telling that the student is attending the chat session, the student is communicating with us through the email and other kinds of things. However, it is completely a kind of engagement at many times, an engagement illusion at many times. So mentorship deficient scale was there. Actually, in any online session, we used to say that 1:20 should be the teacher to student ratio. However, it was completely missing. So we think that we may cater it to thousands, we can scale it to hundreds and thousands of students at one go. So that was the problem that we were facing during that particular internet era. So then also the credibility concerns. Whenever we tried to give online degrees those days, so it was once again a credibility issue, that how come the student has done BSc on online mode without any practicals and those. So those things were the challenges that time. So here the key takeaway is technology enabled a scale, but institutions failed to build learning ecosystems around it. So that was the thing that we have to understand from the third. So in the fourth thing that I have slightly deviated from technology and other things, I call it as pandemic and platform era. So here the emergency remote teaching confusion is there. So whoever was there in the pandemic, during the pandemic, many institutions have started their own way of delivering the things. So some people, they had done it through the video conferencing tools. Some people, they had done it through offline or online, that too not in sync mode, but in the asynchronous mode. So there are several attempts done by many universities. Then there was a lot of confusion, which led to several challenges. So faculty capability gap was there. And then teaching effectiveness. So many people, many formats they had followed. So teaching effectiveness was being dropped at that particular time. And then assessment breakdown was there. During the pandemic, most of the universities, they had considered certain elements only, not the full term assessments were not done. And then the digital divide became explicit there, and the credential inflation risk. I think that digital divide became explicit in the sense that when we talk about the urban areas, most of the people, they may have the smartphones those days in 2020. However, in rural areas, when it comes to the surrounded by rural areas, so there the people were not having the means of taking the content, like the cell phone, tab, or else the laptop that we usually use it in the online means. So that was not. Here the key takeaway is the system scaled rapidly, but without standards, training, or governance frameworks. So that was the key takeaway from this. So these are all the 4 eras challenges that we had identified. When it comes to the priorities, this is the second part. So we have to redefine the success metrics. We always count everything by enrollment numbers, so which may not be the right way to count. However, in the when it comes to the GER, gross enrollment ratio, during 2020, when we were given a mandate that by 2035 the GER in the higher education system should be 50%. So that is the target given for us till 2035. However, from that then that particular time it was only 23%. So 23, it was ranging from 23 to 23-24 in the higher education. But when it comes today, just I was going through this particular stats yesterday, it is 28.4. So 28.4. So during these 5 years or 6 years span, we had increased only a few bits. That is only 5% we had increased. However, the target is nearing by. So there is no other means other than the distance education, the quality distance education. The traditional universities may not be in a position to achieve that target, whatever we had kept in 2035. However, through the distance education means we can achieve. We can achieve. That is the only means left over. So that may be the reason why UGC is telling every university to start dual mode, or else to start a kind of online education wherein which you can cater to the students. So when we talk about the G year, it ranges from the age 18 to 23, not beyond that. So 18 to 23 is the age that we take, and then we calculate the GR and other things. So not beyond that. So here, the opportunity session, build hybrid learning infrastructure, covering the combination of digital platforms and the physical support centers. Here, not only the digital things are supportive, however, there should be a kind of human element involved. So teacher should not be neglected. Whatever the case may be, even I am from the technology, I say that teacher, the tool is next, the tool doesn't come first, the teacher comes first. Usage of the tool and other kinds of things that the teacher should guide, and first of all, the teacher should evaluate, and he has to specify that particular tool to the students. And then, So then faculty transformation. So Murthy sir, when I joined in 1998, rigorously they had conducted the sessions. That thing is missing nowadays. So the faculty capacity building is missing nowadays, and even the teachers are also not ready to spend one full day or 2 days to take the capacity building. However, in distance education, when you want to be the distance education teacher, capacity building plays a main role. Until unless we don't have that capacity building, we may not be a good distance education teacher. And then coming to the fourth one, that is the assessment reinvention. So in the time of this AI, most of the students, you can see, they are copying the things by generative AI. So whatever the question that is there, you give it as assignment, they put that particular question into that particular chat GPT through a prompt, and whatever it generates, they are just picking up and submitting it to the teacher. So here the challenge comes. So even though you are the distance education teacher, even though you are not giving the questions from the direct course material, for example, an MBA student may be given a case study, and there are several questions those they had put on to that particular context. However, the challenge comes during this particular AI era, especially, the challenge comes how the assignments are designed. So there may be a question how to design. So each and every question should not be directly from the course material, we know. However, each and every assignment should be attached with the rubrics. Every assignment needs to be attached with the rubric. Like it is, nowadays it is attached to the marks, like first question is of 10 marks. However, the 10 marks needs to be defined. So suppose if the student is up to this particular target you define, and in that particular thing you have to cover all these things, all these aspects. So in such a way you have to compartmentalize all the questions through these rubrics, and then only you can assess the assignments. Right. You can assess the assignment in a good way. Then just 5 minutes. AI governance framework, as I am telling you, each and every university, earlier we used to have this ICT policy or IT policy for every university. If you go to the any website, you have to download that IT policy, and it governs the whole framework of using the IT by the faculty as well as by the students. However, when it comes to the AI framework also needs to be defined, which is called as AI policy. So each and every university need to design a AI policy for teachers, students, researchers, even for the staff also. So it is the policy that will be governing the whole AIC in order to define the transparency standards and the accountability mechanisms. And then lifelong learning supports is one particular thing. So modular degrees. So in the multi-exit also nowadays all the degrees are being pushed into the digital digilockers. So each and every course is being given the credit weightage. Suppose if he has done course 1 C1, so it is individually shown it as the credits earned by the student, that too in the form of a micro credit. So micro credentials or else the modular degrees are the need of the hour. So whatever you do, whatever the mix or whatever the subjects you do, let us define a micro degree. So that is how you have to define. Otherwise, the huge drop rates is the big problem for the distance education. So you define with certain courses, you measure that particular thing, measure the credits and give some sort of micro degrees which is very much valid. And then stackable credentials, flexible entry points. Suppose if you had done out of 15 courses, I had done only 7 courses and I took exit. Once again, you invite the student, invite the learner. Whenever he is in a position to do the degree, he should be continuing that particular degree. So inclusion as a system design principle. So once again, this was missing in the first 4 eras. So this was the thing that you have to do. Inclusion is the thing that we have to take care. Alignment with the national skills framework. NCRF has given the clear-cut standards in a tabular format. We should strictly follow those particular NCRF standards. Like when it comes to the higher education, it is 4.5 and above. So those particular things we have to see, and we have to aim all the skill courses. Only the theoretical things doesn't suffice nowadays. So we have to inculcate the value-added courses and the specific skill courses, and that too along with the framework that they had given. And then the apprenticeship and work integrated learning that needs to be focused upon. So without this particular apprenticeship or else without that particular NCR skill-based inputs, the education may not be useful that much in coming days. Then comes the alumni and the strategic assets. So being from this particular university, I feel proud that my university is 100 years old. But when it comes to the alumni, there should be a kind of strategy. There should be a platform. I mean to say there should be a portal. In IGNOU we had that, because at any point of time we have 33 lakhs of students enrolled in our IGNOU courses. However, when it comes to this particular alumni strategy, you have to have the digital alumni platforms. Endowment funds can be connected, or else if at all some entrepreneurs are there working with many organizations, you should use their services, and you should tell them that apprenticeship, please provide apprenticeship to the upcoming students or else the learners that we have. And then the placement support, once again the alumni helps the placements. So you have to contact the alumni and you have to grip them, you have to bind them to the university, then only the placements and other things, apprenticeship will happen. So integrated digital systems like admissions and other things, government is having free Samad system, so you can use that particular system for the admissions. And then consortium based model for Cdoe. Suppose if for the state universities it is a problem that out of the jurisdiction you may not be offering the programs. However, if the program is very much popular in YCMOU, you take their course, convert it into your regional language or English, so that you can cater to the students of no need of inventing the wheel. However, you can use those services and then course booklets, and then you can start the same program. Community radio local, anyway, Dr. Ayagari will focus upon. Faculty capacity building, that I had already told you. Adoption and sharing of courses, already we had covered. So NEP driven flexibility opportunity, that we have to like take each and every, like they had said that first year is the certificate, second year is the diploma, third year is the bachelor's, and fourth year is the specialization kind of thing. Likewise, we have to design each and every program into these kinds of things, and we have to allow the students wherever he wants to be exit, he can exit. So these are the last slide. This is the integrated strategic insight. So one should think of micro-credentials plus skill frameworks in order to get employability for the students. AI plus faculty training using AI and other kinds of things. It improves the learning quality of the faculty. Consortium plus course sharing, it will scale with the efficiency. Community radio and local hubs, it gives you the inclusion principle. Alumni plus endowment, it gives the university's sustainability. So the future of CDOE lies not in expanding access alone, but in building an ecosystem where learning is modular, skill-lined, technology-enabled, human-supported, and continuously accessible across a learner's lifetime.
Well said, Subramanian.
Thank you.
Well said. Good.
Thank you very much.
I think you also accepted, being a student of computer science, that tool is not the first. Like Professor Ramreddy said, tool should not be master. So human element cannot be erased. And well, I think you have almost technology, you have made it a point. Good. Now I request Dr. Ravi Ahiwari, a media expert from IGNOU. I think he will throw light on the media, importance of communication, everything on the ODL system.
Namaskar. So, respected Vice Chancellor Rajshekhar sir, Chairman Professor E. VAYUNANDAN sir, Professor Harinarayana sir, Professor Murthy sir, and then Subramaniam sir, and listeners. It's a great privilege. I am also alumni of the Andhra University. I graduated in 1984. Later, I went to Maharashtra, Walchand College of Engineering, and then I joined in Indira Gandhi University in 1990 in Electronic Media Production Center. It is a JICA project, and our consultants are BBC people, and technical consultants are Sony people. And we are all trained from the BBC and Sony company, Japan. So that was happened in 1990. Our primary job is actually to make the audio video programs to supplement the print material. Other than that, since I am belonging from Andhra Pradesh, all the time I am giving support to Government of Andhra Pradesh in ICT projects. So what you are watching, that teleconferencing conducting by the Chief Ministers, that was developed by our team. Other than that, I am the consulting advisor to all the leading Telugu channels, and then we started something out of the box, that's Bhakti channel, first South Indian Bhakti channel and NTV. and channel for Tirumala Tirupati Devasthanam, SBBC was, I am the main architect for that channel. So all are running in some multiple languages. So I have given a opportunity to share prevailing practices and then what were the past and future. So looking at the time constant, so I will mix past, present and future and explain how use the local technology for the global vision economically and how to make a intelligent campus in the Andhra University, particularly in the area of distance education. Hello. Next slide. So here I'm not going on to discuss about theories and all those things. Directly we'll go to the practices. So it's not working. Where? Yeah. See, I have given a topic that lifelong learning through distance education. Basically, I am telling everyone in my life also, mother is the first teacher. Mother is the first teacher. Whatever doubts we are having, anything about life or our childhood, any doubts and all that, we are going to ask the mother. Now, trend has changed. Suppose if any doubt is there for any kid, even if they are studying nursery or first class, first their attraction is mobile phone. Even without mobile phone, they don't want to eat also. Now, I think it is not going there. I will show you in the recent AI meet in Delhi. They are using the AI to clear the doubts about the history and then mythology and Ramayana, Bhagavad Gita and all those things. So just I will show you. So you can see. So this is developed by the Prasar Bharati.
मंत्रों के नियमित और सही उच्चारण से व्यक्ति को ज्ञान में गहराई प्राप्त होती है और मानसिक एकाग्रता में वृद्धि होती है। विभिन्न मंत्रों का अलग अलग प्रभाव होता है और वे हमें आंतरिक शक्ति और ऊर्जा प्रदान कर सकते हैं। यदि आप मंत्र साधना में सिद्धि प्राप्त करना चाहते हैं तो नियमितता।
Here the one of the audience is asking, so every day I am doing puja, is it really useful? But this electronic Gyaniji is telling the answer. But here what Vayunandas are telling and then Murtis are telling, without internet, without any connectivity, it won't work. In the world, if there is any casualty, number one break is the internet. So this Gyaniji will go. So that's why there is no alternative for the mother. Whether internet is there or current is there, battery is there, nothing makes difference. Mother is mother. Multi-skilled. Now present, they want to upscale their skills for the livelihood, for the survival. There is a lot of demand for the mothers, homemakers, to learn the prevailing technologies to survive in the society. So now here actually our experts told we have to start a new courses, short-term courses and all those things. So here is our just suggestion. We have to start a small type of courses for the target date for the women and the householders. So AI anyway, everybody knows, everybody talking AI and all those things, it requires a prompting, proper prompting. So we have to ask what we want. Even in the interview also they will give a certain period of time, there we have to answer. So distance education that can start a small courses about say certificate course or something like that on prompting. Even if we go to internet and all these things also, if you ask the question properly, then only it will be the proper answer. So that prompting is important, right? See, basically, what happened, earlier it was used the Guru Shishya Parampara. It was only one-to-one. So, teacher is giving and then student is learning. So that is only no recording, nothing. Only just you have to listen and you have to and then you have to recite and you have to give. And then later what happened, it is Sravanam, Mananam and Samskara. Three things. Only first listen, only listening. Then later on reciting and repeating. And third one, Samskara. This was used in the ancient times to transform the culture and the tradition and all those to the next generation. Later on science has come. Then here I am coming to the communication, science, and then some scripts has also developed. They used to, in ancient times, the scripting and everything and making a content is a very difficult thing. Sign making, and then they are going to, like they are making a sculptures and they are putting on the temples and all those things. And again here it is coming for the mass communication, mass dissemination, temples and all those things. Talapatta Kandras and all those things is personal usage. So there also they have taken about the mass consumption. So that way they are using that non-verbal communication started. But coming to this ancient time, no media was used. No media was used. But coming back to the communication, even nature also give you the indications, cautions for our safety, for caution and all those things. For example, if you go to a forest, if any tiger comes, the birds which are sitting in the top angle, they will give a different type of sound. Even one child, actually, if the child is angry, they will cry in a different way. If there is a pain, they will cry in a different way. So, that any meaningful communication is a education. This is actually again history. So how slowly it transferred during the British people? They followed the SQ3R methodology. It means you have to question, you have to read, recite and just review. But that time actually they are targeted for the not the managers, only clerical jobs, only they have to follow the all the rules and regulations. So, and then post-independence, now post-independence, planning commission, 5-year plan, they focused on the main on the education. And they have given a more value to the technology. Then later, liberalization, privatization, globalization, they have to open the doors. So here why I want to say this thing is, if you want to make any activity or any making any for the distance education content or any, it requires a government policy. And then you have to make the content. And then you have to disseminate. And then you have to take the feedback. So in these days, so sir, I am combining 3 chapters, I am combining 1 chapter. Okay. So now there is a great advantage from the government of India. Policy is liberal. So they are giving I will give you one example also. During our school days, to listen a radio, you need a permission. So if you are not going to pay for that license for the listen the radio, they are going to, against that PNT Act, they are going to give you the demand note. And it will attract a very heavy penalty. So now everything is free. So there is, and again anyway, there is a government of India put a code of conduct for All India Radio and Doordarshan. You cannot produce whatever you want and all those things. Now it is liberal. Social media, everybody is editor, everybody is a presenter, everybody is a scriptwriter, everybody is doing everything. So there is no code of conduct for the dissemination of the content. So that has also created a lot of problem, which is a serious issue. And coming to education, our basic job is making education programs. In basic thing in education programs, giving an example is very difficult. Because any education film, it gives a permanent change in the learner. So, not like you cannot put any comedy or something like that. So, making a education program is a very difficult, and giving a visual example is more difficult. And if you go to any circus or something like that, they will just show you, they will ask how much is the total for 3 plus 3, if you add 3 plus 3. That comedian says this is 8. They will take a 1 3 like this, 3 like this, and they will show like this. But in education film, this type of techniques are actually not taken because it gives a permanent change in the child. So one should be taken care making the video program while giving a visual examples. So there actually creativity comes. So this I told you anyway. Any meaningful communication, any communication meaningful it is education. If it is written, produced in multimedia and multiple media, then it is called a open distance learning. You can make it, but if you are using any medium like radio, television and all these things, so it will become a distance education. This is the actually just generations, how these things are. Sir also telling about cyclostyle and all those things. Even now actually time constraint and time is playing a major role, important role, including the production, including the dissemination, and including for the interactivity. See, this is what happens actually earlier print medium. Making a print, in olden times, they have to put a printing press, they have to take a casket, they have to load one letter, and then if you want to print in a photograph, they have to go to the embossing, they have to make a block and they are printing. It was taking lot of time that time. Now, within 1 second, just only, even if you are talking, that can be written immediately and it can be printed. So, there in distance education, so if you want to disseminate my lecturer and something, and if you want to give in a printing mode, otherwise if you want to give in a PowerPoint mode, within no time it is going on. And then later on, multimedia model, radio has come. Then these two actually they don't have any interactivity. Interactivity basically goes to actually user to mission. It means it is a very small advantage, otherwise limitation, only you can listen. If you want to listen in a radio, so that CFL started educational programs in radio. So they will come at 1 o'clock. It means you have to reach near the radio 1 o'clock and you have to listen. But there is no option. If you are missing something, otherwise if you are getting any disturbance or something like that, any barrier, so that will go off. And then later actually that radio and tape recorder has come out. So it has given opportunity to record and listen later on. That has come. But here in the both generations there was no interactivity. So later in radio, interactive started in Bhopal. Bhopal, All India Radio started experimented interactive radio counseling for the mass people. So they are going to disseminate the lectures and all those things, and the feedback will be taken through the telephone. So they name it as a interactive radio counseling that was started in the Bhopal first. Later on it was actually adopted in the Indira Gandhi University. And then third model, then tele-learning and teleconferencing has come out. Broadcast and all those things. So anyway, you know, there has gone a graphic support and all those things for better learning and all those things. And it has gone to wide spectrum of people to entire India and without considering any geographical problems. So for this transmission and for the medium, they have taken a satellite and all those things to distribute. Now, intelligent flexible learning model, now presently we are in this era. Everything is possible. Everything is possible. But only the thing is, as a teachers, we have to see how to integrate, where to integrate. So, coming to content generation, as Subramaniam sir, we have to take the advantage of the alumni. We can take the advantage of the time zone and identifying the experts in the maybe say US or something like that. So because the time zone, that is the night time for them and we are the daytime for India. So taking the advantage of the time zone, we can make a content with the help of that people for the benefit of our students. So it will give advantage of the global vision and global examples and all those things, that prevailing practices they will share. So these people will be benefited. See, this already told you, actually to start anything in the process, it requires a academic support. Anyway, you are all experts and all those in the subject. So there is no problem for the academic support. Administrative support, anyway, very dynamic Vice Chancellor, he will give you support. Financial support, there are 2-3 plans are there from the government, that also you can take it. And then motivational support. And career development support means looking at the prevailing changes in the rapid changes, it requires a technology supported activities are going on, a lot of activities. For that techno support activities, it requires a skilling and upskilling, and basic skilling is to be given, and as they told, actually you have to develop some courses, that is this thing. So as I told you, that government policy, full government is there, it is there. Now later on, coming to content generation, I told earlier, teacher was sitting and they are writing units and they are going for and they are printing and they are giving to the students and distributing. But now trend has come out, it is called a user generated content. As I told you, in the third generation, there is a teleconferencing system. So we will call one expert from the America, one we will call an expert from the something Australia, one from the India, like that. All three will sit and they will discuss, and then that will be recorded, and then we will involve to the students also. They will raise the questions and all those things. With the help of that content, we will make a small post-production, removing the all unwanted discussions and all those things. That will become a original content for the benefit of the distance learners. And anyway, it will be stored and it will be disseminated later also. This is called a user-generated content. So new technologies come, new policies come, everything will be shared. So there it will be actually referring to the unit they can tell. This new system called a user-generated content. And second thing, as I told you, you can take the time zone and all those things and taking the experts, foreign experts to India and all those things. This is already practiced by the UGC. UGC countrywide classroom was started in 1980s. So they have taken the experts, professors from the entire country, and they put it on the Doordarshan. So this actually what Murthy sir telling and Voice are telling, it is only a change of the nomenclature. We are doing the same content all the time. Once it is called a digital content, what is it called a audio video production. Now it is calling a MOOCs, something. It is only change of the nomenclature, basics and the production values and exactly to supplement the print material. That is always one and the same. And secondly, whatever technology you use, content is the king. Other things are only fashionable. So you can go for even if you make a only SMS to the student, that is also okay. But for that you have to use this thing, other technology, and you have to tell them you have to go to satellite technology spending and all those things. So here what I want to say is local technology for the global vision. So for example, actually Indira Gandhi University is having a teleport, production center and all those things. What we are doing, that Ambedkar Open University are doing the same thing. But they are using the minimum expenditure, minimum technology, but maximum reach. How it is happening also I will tell you. So Indira Gandhi University is having its own teleport, and we are having a production center, and we are disseminating this thing, and we are having a study centers, we are having a dish antennas to receive this thing. Our student has to go to the study center to listen our lecture. But whereas coming to Ambedkar Open University, they are only hiring a 1 hour of the slot in the Doordarshan, and they are conducting the teleconferencing session. And since it is a Doordarshan candidate, it is a mandatory to cover entire India. So there the cost is very less, and the infrastructure is very less. Only academics are joining,
Ravi,
and it is a
I think it's time.
minimum technology and maximum reach.
Please.
So all these things, and I don't want to talk about time saving and all those things, you know. So our target is to go for a high quality of content, and then I request this thing Distance Education Center to start a small audio video studio with the HD facilities, so that can be used for the multiple purpose, so that you can record the content for interdisciplinary courses that can be stored. Where you can use for the MOOCs, otherwise you can use for supplement your content, otherwise you can broadcast in the radio and all those things. So it is a small suggestion. You have to start a HD video studio, which will be useful for them.
Thank you. Ravi, you can.
So the AR and all those things we can tell later. Yeah, one last, sir. What is this? Okay, now I want to tell you one thing. Actually, earlier what happened, there is a new role in the educator. Sage on the stage. Teacher used to stand and he has to give the lecture and students are listening. But in present, guide is on the side. What we are talking about, AI and all those things, immense learning, virtual set and augmented reality, teacher is coming, sitting next to you and teaching to you. So that is the technology can be adopted for teach the students for better understanding, to motivate and to encourage the student. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Sorry. I think there is small change.
Yeah, so many slides.
Vice Chancellor has some meeting, so you
Oh,
want
okay,
to, I think before question and answers, I think there is some felicitation will take place.
Oh, sorry.
Now our Honorable Vice Chancellor, GP Rajshekhar, will felicitate all the panel discussion members and participants here. Now I would like to call upon Professor Rajshekhar Garu to come on to the dais and felicitate all the panel members. First, I will also like to call Professor Vijay Mohan Garu, Director Physical Education, to come on to the dais, and also I will like to request Professor B. Muniswamy, Professor Department of Statistics and Dean, to come on to the dais, and also Professor. Next I would like to call Dr. V. Ramarao Garu. He was the Founder Secretary for MVR Colleges, Gajuwaka. Please sir, come on to the dais. Next I would like to call upon J. Ramaji Rao Garu, Chairman. He was the President, Ramnaji Rao Garu. and he is the President, AP Private Degree Colleges Management Association, and he is also the Chairman, Usodaya Educational Institutions, Chodavaram. Okay. Now, we would like to felicitate our chief guest and moderator for this panel discussion program today, Professor E. VAYUNANDAN Garu. It's a happy moment to see this occasion here from Cdoe also. This is all possible because of our Vice Chancellor's initiative and a very good initiative, sir. We would like to have this type of programs in the near future also. Next, we would like to call upon Professor D. Harinarayana, and sir will felicitate him with a bouquet and memento. Bouquet, no? It's a shawl, okay. Next I will, no, okay. Next we will invite Professor Murthy Garu. Sir will honor him with a shawl and a present memento. All of you please clap. All of you please clap. Next I will call upon Professor D.V.V. Subramaniam. Professor V.V. Subramaniam Garu for the occasion. Next, we would like to honor Professor Ravi Ayyagaru. Please accept a shawl and a memento, small memento. Next, I request. Now I will request all the members of this panel discussion. This is a very good occasion. We would like to honor our. Sir, meeku sir chinna. Thank you, sir. This all could happen because of your motivational thinking and way forward, sir. Thank you.